Advanced attack restore. Good morning, I hope everyone's well today. Thank you for watching as always. Over the past few weeks there's been a bit of back and forth online and probably behind the scenes between Advanced UK leader Ben Habib and Rupert Lowe. I don't know either of these gentlemen, but they are generally speaking on the right side of things, and I have a lot of time for Ben Habib, which makes this video a bit disappointing that I have to make this video and actually have a comment on it, because he's leaning into the tropes and he's leaning into the rhetoric that's usually reserved for the mental leftists, and this is what's disappointing. He seems to be accusing, and his members in Advanced UK seem to be accusing Restore Britain of racism. Now, my general principle is you need to judge each other on your own arguments, on your own principles, irrespective of what acolytes, random followers online may or may not comment about you. People are responsible for their own actions, and you can't really hold people responsible for the things other people do. That's my opinion. So it is disappointing. I seen this clip on Debunking earlier this week where we have a representative from Advanced UK basically making the same argument that Ben's been making online, that Restore's not doing enough to denounce the more hardcore followers of the movements. So I'm going to play the clip now.
The largest growing political party in history, because Restore Britain was a movement before Advanced UK become a party. They have had advertisement, Nate, and by doing the grooming gang, rape gang inquiry, should we say, that obviously brought light to Rupert, that grew his members at that time.
What I would say though is, I don't know who this lady is first of all, what I would say is I don't think the grooming gang inquiry was advertisements. The inquiry that Rupert Lowe independently crowdfunded should have been done by governments. It shouldn't be an advertisement for anyone or anything. It should have been done decades ago. So the fact that he's the only MP that seems to give a toss about that currently, it is, you could argue it's PR. I wouldn't say it's an advertisement. I wouldn't say it's an advertisement at all. It was morally the right things to do.
It would have also grown his membership through other things that have happened, certain people joining the party, but there are some things that need to be addressed with Restore, isn't there? And, that's coming to light with its supporters, Nate, so I don't know why you're doing
Nate, do you want to respond?
Well, yeah, I mean, what are we doing? Are we doing guilt by association? What are we doing?
No, not at all, but I think, certain supporters need to be called out.
No political party, and I'm going to say this now, I've said it before and I'll say it again, no political party should be held responsible for what their followers or commentators or anybody says about them to other people. Alright? The political party should stand on its own. If there's more vehemently racist people online, shall we say, that say, oh, well, I'm voting for Restore Britain because they're going to deport all the black people, for example, that's not Restore Britain's policy. That's not my opinion. I will not be held accountable for an opinion that's not mine. Restore Britain should not be held accountable for a policy that's not theirs.
So, to show that your party...
And nobody, no political party, should be in the business of denouncing anybody, because at the day, they are private citizens, and if they're not doing anything illegal, you still need their vote. As simple as that as politics.
Doesn't support ethno-nationalism.
Well, I think they do to a certain degree. Isn't ethno-nationalism just nationalism?
I would agree. If you subscribe to the fact that England, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland and the people native to those lands are actually inherently tied to the land, that they are an ethnicity, and that is a thing that you can be ethnically British, What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? This is the thing. An ethno-nationalist is specifically that. That's not a negative connotation, that's actually a positive connotation. You cannot have a country without an ethnicity tied to the country.
No, I think, we're Great Britain and we need to show that we are a diverse nation. And that we embrace.
Don't like that. Don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. I really don't like that. I really don't like that at all. Cringe. That's bad.
What would separate advance from Blairism and globalism then?
Nate's completely correct on that. And I'm sorry, the lady seems decent. She seems like a nice person. This is really bad from a right of centre party.
And what's wrong with a nation being nationalist?
Again, the good father's got a point. There is literally nothing inherently wrong with being pro-British, pro the ethnicity of the country that you're meant to be representing. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
No, there's nothing wrong. What I'm saying is there are certain supporters that could be the downfall to restore. So I would like to see them, just call some people out.
I personally wouldn't, and I'll say this on the record yet again. Any person, however unsavoury, is a voter. If they are not doing anything illegal, let them have their opinion. It's not Restore Britain policy. Other people can call them out on it. No political party who's lobbying for voters off the electorate should be calling anybody out. Definitely not.
Show that they're not in.
Well, it's interesting. I was speaking to someone senior in Restore Britain last night because there's a lot of accusations that have been coming the way of Restore Britain, but there are a lot of falsehoods that are being put out there about exactly what they're saying, because no spokesperson for Restore Britain has ever said that, for example, a non-native would never be able to stand for the party. I'm told that actually isn't Restore Britain's position, because apart from anything else, it's actually against the law.
It is to a degree. Dan's got a point there. It is against the law to a degree. Say, for example, you have a company that has 100 employees and they all happen to be white. That's not necessarily against the law if you can prove it's open to everybody and you're not actually picking people because they are white. That's the distinction. If you happen upon 100 people to work for a company or to hold office in a political party and they happen to be white, that in of itself is not illegal.
So I think Rupert has made it clear that he isn't racist and that the policies are not racist. Now,
this obsession with calling people out as racist, or people trying to defend themselves and say, well, don't look at me, I'm not a racist, don't look at me. This is uniquely specific to Northern European countries and the Anglosphere. No other country in the world, and the Northern European countries and the Anglosphere, is a very small part of the world. The rest of the world do not view it this way. In fact, they're openly racist and they don't actually even see it as an issue. So enough with this guilt by association, and enough with people calling each other racist, especially if you're on the right of centre. It's utterly ridiculous. I'd expect it from Labour, I'd expect it from the Greens. I don't expect it from Advance UK.
Even if that was the case, that's not a racist
racism.
Well,
No,
to expect Britons to study in Britain.
Ethno-nationalism has got nothing to do with racism.
I don't
Remember
believe-
Brexit.
I don't
Remember
believe
Brexit?
Rupert is a racist. I'm not
Everyone
saying
wanted to kick out the Polish people. They're bloody white.
I agree with Nice again. During Brexit, we wanted to kick out a lot of Polskis. That's not racist, they're white. We were white Europeans. Brexit, again, the arguments at the time by a lot of the Liberals was, oh, you're just racist because you want out of the European Union. Well, no, because we're all white Europeans. So no, it wasn't about race.
have loads of problems with Polish people. I love
Look at what's happening now. There's this
Don't worry.
divide. Even on this panel, there's this divide between CivNat and EthnoNat, and it's all a lie. It's all fake and gay.
Oh no, I don't agree with those terms. I've been very clear that I don't agree with the terms. But what I'm saying is I'm putting the point from Restore Britain officially that they are, because Sarah, you're saying, well, some of their supporters have been saying this, but the position from Restore Britain very clearly is that they haven't taken an ethno-nationalist position and that they are not saying that non-natives could not stand for the party. Now, Nate and Calvin, that might not go far enough for you, but I guess...
I think they should. Right, they should say if you're not British, you can't stand in a British election. That should be the rule.
Yeah.
And of course that is, don't get me wrong, that is what some of their supporters are saying. Like Lucy White has been on this show saying that, Connor Tomlinson has been on this show saying that, but it is not an official Restore Britain policy.
And the position from Advance UK seems to be that if you hold the view that you need to be natively British to stand in British elections, or to stand or have a senior position in Restore Britain, then that's a racist position. It really isn't. It really isn't. And that would be my opinion. That really isn't a racist position. But it's not even Restore Britain's position. Alright, so there is that distinction. This lady, as I say, she seems nice enough. She seems to be arguing that Restore Britain needs to be chastising and condemning people that hold this view. No, don't agree with that at all.
At least at this point. I'm just clearing that up.
That's okay. I mean, at the end of the day, this whole game of playing guilt by association is clownish. It's infantile. Oh, you've got to denounce people. This is what people were saying about reform, denouncing Tommy Robinson. It's just, it's clownish. It's absolutely clownish.
And that was Reform UK, or one of Reform UK's biggest mistakes, denouncing anybody on the Unite the Kingdom rally as that loss. That was one of Reform UK's biggest mistakes. I was on one of those rallies and I did take it personally. That was a grave catastrophe. And if Restore Britain is smart, they'll never do anything that stupid.
No, and I totally agree with that. I had Peter C. Barnes on last night and we were having that debate, and I was saying we don't want to become Reform, where actually Restore Britain feels like it has to come out and condemn a supporter because they have taken a position that is a little bit more extreme. I agree with that, but Sarah, you're saying that actually Restore should be tougher.
I'm just saying that there should be a little bit more clarity, but on respect to what we was talking about with Advance, I'm loyal to Advance and I'm standing with Advance. And when other people have said and they've called Rupert out for starting a new party, I always said he was well within his rights to start a party. You know, I think that too many people are getting involved and name calling and things like that. All I'm saying is, for Restore to go forward, it might be better for them if they were to clarify things and call out the people that are deemed to be being racist.
Me personally, I don't think so, yet again, and the reason is that is a matter for the police. If the police think that a line has been crossed and something illegal has happened, that's a matter for the police to take up with these people as private individuals. This has nothing to do with Restore Britain.
You know, but as I stand as Advance, is we are going forward, we are staying strong, I believe that we can succeed.
I think that falls into the trap of the way politics has been for so long, in that everyone's just petrified of being seen as racist.
Yes.
Not me, I don't care. I really don't care. I am past caring at all.
So let's not do that to each other on the right, because it's what Reform UK are doing, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're a neo-Nazi, or Layla Cunningham saying I'm far right. I think we've got to be really careful about that, because personally, I don't believe having the discussion as racist. I don't think someone would say that it was a racist policy in the United States of America to say that the president has to be born in America. So I think it's important that we have this debate without throwing the racist term around. But it's an interesting one, because obviously that is what Reform UK are now doing as well.
So we'll leave that there. So why do you think that Advance UK is behaving this way? As I say, I can't comment fully, but I can call out what I see to be petty bickering, which is what this comes across as. Ben may have good reasons, he may have good ideas for the right of centre politics in the United Kingdom, but calling out the competition and calling them or their supporters racist or whatnot and saying, well, Restore Britain needs to do more about that, I don't get what his aim is. Now, as always, your mileage may vary. Comment below. You let me know if you think I've got Advance UK dead wrong. What's going on behind the scenes between Restore Britain and Advance UK? I know that Ben Habib wanted a merger, and that doesn't seem to be happening. You let me know. Are you supporting Reform UK? Are you supporting Advance? Are you supporting Restore Britain? I think this will blow over, but the thing is, I don't want anybody being condemned online for supporting Reform or Advance or Restore Britain. Inherently, most of the people on the grassroots are getting sort of sidetracked into a little trap of like trying to pop shot and dig each other. I think it's unedifying and we need to be better than this. This is just my opinion. Have a good day and subscribe and like the channel. Thank you for your time.